Hello and
Hello,
welcome.
Paul.
How you doing, Kat?
I am doing all right. Should we talk about why we didn't have a pre-show today?
That's a. I would love to talk about why we didn't have a pre-show today. Would you like to explain?
Sure. So it's episode 3, and we are ironing out some kinks. And when it comes to production, we had everything lined up except for one thing. So we just decided, let's pivot. Let's just go live, and we just jump into the show because that's what this is all about. Just figuring the stuff out as we go. And I would like to say hello to Kevin, who has said hi in the comments. So thanks for joining us.
Live streaming is just one gigantic pivot. That's what live streaming is. So, yeah, we realized today that, so here we are. This is Are We Live Now? It's the new live streamer experience. So it's a really candid conversation. We talk about our experiences going live, good, bad, things we've discovered. And then also we bring in guests and talk to them about what they've learned about going live and hopefully helping you and then also helping us in the process as well.
And today we are doing something a little bit different because we are talking to someone who has a lot of presenting experience and has actually done many presentations and things online, but has not actually yet gone live to his channel. So we're going to hear a little bit of a different perspective, and then we're going to invite him back after he has gone live and just kind of hear how it went. So it's a little bit of before and after, and hopefully everyone enjoys that today.
And so we are always trying to respect people's time, so we want to keep this our goal, 45-minute show. So let's dive into the first part. It's called The Good, The Bad, and The Meh. So what has happened this week that was good, bad, and meh during live streams? Kat, what happened that was good during a live stream?
Good. Good. Okay. Well,
or I can start as well if that.
Maybe you should start. I think This hasn't been my all-time best week, so I'll have you start. Maybe you will inspire me.
Me either. So it's been a rough week of live streaming. So I was literally earlier today being like, what was good that happened? This is very techish, but I was able to get my cat cam working, which was exciting. I've never used SRT before. Was able to figure that out and find an app that synced with vMix and was able to get all of those working together, which was great, which was really fun.
That's good.
So, yeah.
And for the folks who do not know what SRT is, which includes me, would you like to share?
So I would love to share if I knew what it stood for. I'm pretty sure SRT stands for SRT. So ready to send a good signal. And they just skipped off.
All right, so let's see crowdsource, and we'll ask if anyone in the comments can throw Paul a bone. I did not mean to to hang out to dry there.
No, that's fine.
The more important thing is, what does it do?
You know what's funny is that I read the name of it. It said SRT, and then in parentheses, it said what it stood for. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't have time. I just want to figure out how to make this work. A great lesson that people might ask later on, this thing that you're using, what does it mean? And I don't know.
All right. But does it allow you to connect a camera? Does it allow you to connect a camera?
It does.
Okay, perfect.
So Sammy's watching right now. Sammy, I'm going to task you with a job. I want you right now to go look up what SRT means, and if you could send it back, that would be fantastic.
This is why we're not the pros. We're the new live streamers.
Nope. We never said we were pros.
No, we're not. We're not. But we actually, we've got the pros in the house. This is exciting.
They're a big fan of cat cams.
Now wait, when you say cat cam, that's confusing because.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a camera I set up at Kat's house and it was streaming. No, we just got 2 new cats, so people wanted to see them, so I set them up I set the camera up in the bedroom and then just kind of showed the cats running around. It was adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. I would say I thought of something. It wasn't all bad. So good is that even though I was kind of feeling down on myself on Friday, I showed up anyway and just decided to commit to I'm going to show up as I am and just be honest and be authentic about the fact that I was not having the best day, but I had committed to show up and do this thing. So I say that is good, and then I also received some positive feedbacks. That is my good in the last week of streaming. There we go. So now the bad. Paul, what was your bad?
So your good actually inspired me to go live on Saturday because I didn't feel like going live, and I was like, well, I'm going to go live because Kat went live, and she did it even though she didn't want it. She wasn't feeling up to it, and that brings me to my bad because on Saturday, my first experience with trolls, horrible, racist trolls that decided to jump on and hijack the Jackbox game we were playing and were typing in very offensive comments. So I had to take down that stream. I had to stop the game. And it's so funny, like when you're live streaming, you realize this is all going out, so I can't be I don't know. I didn't want to go down to their level. I was very angry that they existed and were coming on to make things ugly. But I will say it was really interesting how much everybody who weren't the trolls kind of bonded together and really cared about each other and was like, hey, everybody was just nicer to each other after that moment because it's like, oh, you're a good person and you're a good person and great, let's be nice together. So the trolls, even though it was bad, had this weird experience of helping everybody connect more. So I don't know, their evil was thwarted, and it was funny. It was great for everybody to come together. So it was bad, but it kind of in a silver lining way, good.
Yeah. When you told me that the other day, I just thought, oh no, that's, it's one of your worst nightmares when you're new at this and when you are trying to do something good and then someone sneaks in and is racist. That's, we don't want that. And then, of course, as you said, you had to unlist it. And so that affects your ability as a streamer. But lessons to be learned.
Oh, can I add one quick thing?
Of course.
It did teach me the important lesson of making sure you have a bot or a moderator there to boot people out who are offensive. And also, if you're streaming, I'll just call myself out. Don't leave your stream. I literally left my stream with people playing to go make a drink, and then I came back and the whole world was on fire. And it was so weird to walk in and just everything kind of melting down. So have moderators, and if you don't have moderators, use Stream Elements bots. And boy, I learned that lesson. So,
and just a quick follow-up question: could you use a bot or moderator for your Jackbox? Because I think you said it happened on the actual game, not necessarily in the comments of your stream. Correct?
Yes. So you can't.
Okay.
You can't. I did a lot of research. You can't protect the Jackbox games. But what you can do, and people suggested, and this is maybe advice for somebody out there who's thinking about doing some sort of game, you can filter those people who play through like a Discord. Like you can create a Discord and basically approve of people to jump in and play before. So you need to know them or vet them before they jump in and play, rather than just strangers that you're hoping are decent people. And most are, but some not. Yeah.
And we can't let the trolls keep us down.
Yeah.
So my bad was audio related, and it was today. It's every Wednesday. I go live in the afternoon, and I did not realize my mic was really, really low. The volume, now this, I believe it was my computer because we troubleshooted it this afternoon, but I had no idea when I started my live how low my volume was. And someone did try to help me, but I did not register the comment. So one of the helpful people who's in our community happened to catch me at the start and said gain too low. And I did not actually register right away. I think maybe if I saw your volume's too low, I would have right away known what it is, but I'm still pretty new at this. And I've never changed my gain ever. And I didn't accidentally change it. It was a tech thing. I think it was with my computer because it was reset and I now still have it at the same settings. However, that entire live stream was so low volume that when I usually import it into iMovie to cut off the beginning, the little countdown, and then I post the recording of it. And I put the volume up to the maximum, 400%. It was still quiet. That's how quiet my stream was today. So that was my bad this week. So what's your meh, Paul?
My meh. That's a great. So this week, or not this week, it's more than a week. This whole month is something called Inktober. And Inktober is every day you get a one-word prompt, and with ink, you are to use that as inspiration for a drawing. And some people have been posting on Instagram, and I don't know where the idea came from, but I was like, oh, I should live stream that. So I started live streaming it every day, and I posted a couple. And the second day was great. There was a lot of people who came into the stream and giving me advice and like, oh, you should add this and add this. And I made it a very interactive, almost improviser way of approaching it, where it's like, this one drawing is going to inspire something else, which inspires something else. And it was great. Day 2, awesome. Day 3, fun, but not nearly the amount of people showed up. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when it's the same, when you have the expectation of a lot of people showing up and they don't, you're like, oh no, what have I done wrong? People don't like this. So that was kind of a meh moment. But then, you give it a couple days and you're like, no, what you're doing, the people showing up isn't a reflection of the quality. It's just a reflection of that time of day that you went live. So that was just kind of it. The meh was in my head, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
it does.
That was meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw your torpedo fish on your first Inktober.
Yes.
Or second.
I think he's a little barracuda that's very fit. He's a very fit.
Fish. Yes.
Yeah. You'll probably notice the 6-pack that I drew on the barracuda.
I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I realized Ron is waiting in the wings. We want to get to him. So
yes.
I'll just be really quick with my meh is just on the getting ready and preparing for the stream is not, I still haven't quite got to a point where I am promoting, or at least promoting appropriately to the people who would be interested. So I still need to figure that out. So I'm still a little meh on my process, and that's something I'm going to work on. Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, you love him, and if you don't love him, you will love him because you don't love him because you don't know him. Anyways, please welcome Ron Clifford. Oh no!
Hey,
wait a second.
I'm here.
No, you deserve a round of applause, and I thought I was going to play.
Oh, do you have applause?
I did have applause. It was all ready.
It's okay.
To go.
I like to make a quiet entrance. Hello, Kat and Paul. It's so good to be here.
Thank you,
My goodness,
Ron.
we haven't been in the same call in ever before, like together.
I love that Ron's just rolling up with it while Paul desperately tries to find applause. Are you?
Oh my goodness.
Worth it. Was it worth it? Maybe. I don't know. Hey, Ron.
It was worth it. Now I'm flushed. See, I'm red. Yeah.
Good to see you.
What an introduction. Thank you, Paul.
So smooth. So smooth. So, Ron, how are things? It has been a while since we all got a chance to hang out together.
It has been. Things are going really well. I don't know how it happens. At the end of every day, I wonder what happened to the day. I'm usually a pretty busy guy. I do a lot of things. pre-COVID. We got all these new language, pre-COVID, someday it'll be post-COVID, but now it's COVID. But pre-COVID, I used to travel about 4 months of the year. And so I'd be away at very extreme places without connection to the world, without internet, and for weeks at a time. And that was glorious. It was incredible because I love social media. I actually am pretty social on social media. But I am desperately missing these times when I'm away from everybody and everything for periods of time. And so now I'm in these same four walls. I think there's a song about that. Hello, walls. Yeah. But I'm starting to notice that the days just float into the evening, and then I'm in bed again, and it's like Groundhog Day. Like I'm living Groundhog Day, except I don't know that I have any mission to make a girl fall in love with me or anything. It's just, I'm just getting up, going through my day, going back to bed, and saying, how did that day, like what happened? Like I don't even know what happened. So.
Well, and yeah. Ron, if you'd like, for people who do not know you, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, what you specialize in?
I can. It's a hard question to answer because I wear a lot of different hats. And one of the hats I wear is a professional photographer. I'm a workshop leader and expedition guide to the polar regions. And I run a successful portrait studio pre-COVID in my the heritage part of Newmarket, Ontario, just north of Toronto. I am currently running a membership for photographers, a mentoring membership, which I launched during COVID, which has really been a savior to me. And the students that I mentor are all really grateful for having this opportunity to be in a community, even though it's online, even though it's through Zoom, even though it's in this environment. It's been really, really good to be able to pivot quickly toward that. Because when COVID happened in March, literally March 15th in my province, the world shut down for me, and the studio shut down, and travel shut down, and it was the end of a string of losses that had me having to use the word pivot, which is a word I've come to hate just a little bit, not all that much. Yeah, I noticed Kevin's comment. Great hat game. Yeah, I do literally wear different hats, and this is my Ron the in an interview hat.
You can pull that off. What kind of hat is that? I think I have one. It's a checkered one. I cannot pull it off as well as you.
No, I think they call it a cabbie hat cap.
Yes.
Yeah, a cabbie cap.
It's a good look.
And I need a certain kind because some of them are like, I don't know, the Peaky Blinders, they're a little big, and I have a small head, so it looks like I don't know, like that mouse. I don't know, the Disney movie with the mouse with the big hat. I don't know. Fievel Mousekewitz.
Faisal?
Yeah. Fievel Mousekewitz. Yeah. Yeah.
He came to America.
Fievel
He went west. He did all sorts of stuff.
That's
that
right.
Mouse was
there
busy.
are no cats in America.
There are not.
But there is one in Canada.
So what's really interesting with you, and one of the reasons I think we are excited to talk to you today, is that you have a ton of experience speaking and presenting and going to groups, and whether it's hosting something like a Zoom or in the past in different hangouts and whatnot. So you're very, very experienced there, but you shared with us that you have been, it's been a little bit slower start to go live, and you have a YouTube channel. So we were just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your past experience and maybe where you are now.
Okay, so I'm going to rewind to, and I always go back to 2011, the fall of 2011, and somebody sent me an invite to Google+. And I wasn't really on social media at that time, and I was just really getting things going with photography again after going through a mental health crisis, you could say. And on Google+, I learned very quickly that I have a knack for networking on social media, and I grew over a short period of time a pretty substantial following. And Google introduced something called Hangouts, which is literally what like YouTube kind of shifted to YouTube Live, and Google Meet it is now. But I did some of the very first broadcast Hangout shows. We did a show called Life Through the Lens featuring women in photography. I did a show called The Photoshop Show because one of the things I'm quite proficient at is Photoshop in my photography. And I got over my fear of having a webcam and having a room of people. And so that was a little intimidating, but I found I could do that really easily. And so social media, the whole Hangouts idea, and then Skype comes along, and eventually, other companies tried to hop on board, like Periscope and Facebook Live, and now they have rooms, right? Facebook Rooms, they call it. But Google started all that with Hangouts. They were the beginning of it. And I found that I was really comfortable in this environment, just like it is now. Like I can see Paul and Kat, and I'm talking to somebody in a room. Like I feel really comfortable. Oddly, I discovered several years ago that I'm really comfortable presenting live in public as well. I can present to hundreds or thousands of people, and although I sweat a little bit, I'm nervous. It really was easy for me. And so that's the background. So I'm really good when there's somebody in the room talking to me or asking questions. I give a lot of interviews. I've been featured on many, many podcasts. And 2 years ago, I was really, really fortunate to be able to give my first TEDx talk. And that was about my mental health journey and photography. And so I am not a stranger to being on camera or being at the center. But something strange happens when I'm even thinking about hitting that go live button on YouTube. Facebook, not as much, because I've done some Facebook Live in my private community. And again, I know all those people, so it's not so intimidating. I'm not likely to get a troll, for example, like Paul got. But the whole YouTube, going live on YouTube, there's a blog. Now, I think, I've unpacked a few reasons for that we might be able to explore, but it is unusual that somebody with my level of experience being in front of people still has a fear of going live to a camera lens instead of a group of people. Yeah.
I should unmute my mic. That's important. So I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that you're really comfortable presenting in front of people live or within your group.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
I love it. Yeah. I really do. If I'm talking to somebody and we engage in a meaningful conversation, mm-hmm. I get a lot of encouragement out of that, a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure. And I always tell people that, in reinventing myself after this dark period in my life, after reinventing myself, I discovered some fundamental things that bring me joy and meaning in life. And so recovering from what I will call a mental health crisis, I discovered that there's certain things that I can't help but do. One of them is to photograph the world and the people in it. Another one is to share from my experience in an encouraging way, to encourage others. And that means lifting people up or becoming involved in another person's journey, helping them reach their potential. That was a really big one, that I'm remarkably unfulfilled if I'm not actively engaged in helping somebody else succeed at something. I think our humanity, that's what we're deeply wired for, is to help each other, to lift each other up. I think that's why Lita was so powerful, because here we are, mostly a bunch of strangers getting together with these fears about going live or getting our tech right. And a lot of us joined because we wanted to know what microphone to use. But we were soon to learn that in Lita, Live Every Day in August, we took a challenge to go live every day for 31 days. And this is where I met you guys. Mm-hmm. And what happened was we didn't really learn about the technology. We learned about how to be in front of the camera, how to present for more than 3 minutes and then shut it off quickly because I'm too scared to go on beyond 3 minutes. Which was what it was like for the first week.
You had some longer, definitely longer than 3 minutes, and you felt very comfortable doing it.
Yeah, in the end, I would go, the average was probably 12 to 15 minutes, but I think I did one that was closer to 40 mm-hmm. minutes. And that one was a real test because I thought I'm going to riff on a topic. Because here's one of the fears. So if you're asking me why is it so hard to hit the live button on YouTube, and why not leverage that channel that I worked so hard to create? And that is, when I present, I have an outline. When I give talks to camera clubs live or in person, I have a slideshow and I have a format. when I gave my TEDx presentation, I literally practiced for 3 months so that it would look like I didn't practice. But going live means I've got a topic and maybe even a very rough outline, but I have to riff. If nobody shows up in the room, I have to keep going. And that's the part that just makes me freeze. It's like, what if nobody shows up and I got to talk to nobody for the next 30 minutes?
I love that. You even when you said it, when you're like, if nobody shows up, right there on your face, you could see that's like that dreaded situation, and that I think for a lot of us, and especially and anyone who's watching who hasn't gone live yet is probably having the same like, yeah, that's what if there's no one. And I think that's one of those realities that a lot of people experience, but it's a real thing. Like we can say until we're blue in the face, oh, it's good, but it's still something that we feel.
Yeah. I'm an emotional person. That backstory, and I know others can relate to this. I even forget the year. I think it was 2007. But I was accurately diagnosed with bipolar II disorder after being misdiagnosed and mistreated for many years. And that diagnosis started me on a journey of recovery, a remarkable recovery. It was incredible, to where I tell people whenever I get the chance, I am literally the most fortunate man in the world. I get to live a life. I mean, think about it. I'm a professional photographer. That's what I do for a living. And I get to go to crazy places, and I get to help other people create great images. I get to run workshops and do interviews and do these things, and I get to create. I literally get to live in that zone that brings me joy all the time. And so not a day goes by that I don't feel this deep sense of gratitude. But in discovering this unique character, what does it mean to be bipolar or bipolar II, or to have these labels put on me? I'm an emotional being, and more so than a lot of people. So I can wake up in the morning and really have a very different experience than I have 2 hours later. I would be what you would call rapid cycling bipolar. So I can wake up feeling like I want to cry, and then in 4 hours be laughing with my friends. And so I'm really emotional. And this part of my life, I get to engage in the things that bring me joy, even though I still kind of flow through life. I don't go as extreme as I once did. I really sit now into that zone, I guess we would call normal. So very fortunate, extremely fortunate.
I was
hope I answered your question. I tend to go down rabbit holes.
Well, for one, I love rabbit holes, so take us down all the rabbit holes.
Okay, I got lots. Oh my goodness.
I was going to mention, so we have a lot of people watching, and a lot of people are streamers, and I'm curious if anybody watching right now, or if you're watching on the replay and you want to leave a comment, how do you deal with 0 viewers? Because I know I've been there for sure. And Kat, yeah, you're nodding too. So we've all been there. So we all have different tactics. I think it would be really cool to share those tactics. And I don't know, maybe that would help you, Ron. I mean, not that this.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Identifying the reasons, the heart of the reasons that I have this resistance, because like you guys, like even the people around me say, well, just go live. Like, of course you can go live. Mm-hmm. Like to them, it's like, well, of course, why wouldn't you do that? I have a friend in Newmarket, and he's gained a massive following, and he does YouTube. He's very popular. And we were sitting down over coffee one day, and it was actually the day we finally met. An intermediate friend said, oh, you got to meet my friend and you got to sit down. And so one day finally we met, and we're sitting down having coffee, sharing our experiences. And at the time I had 3 million followers on the Google Plus platform. And so at the time I probably, when we met.
That's pretty good.
It wasn't bad.
That's okay.
It was kind of, there were people with more.
Oh, sure.
But
and there's a lot of
Google
people
Plus,
with a lot less, just to throw that out there.
Well, strangely, there's another story about don't put your eggs all in one basket. That'll be one of my YouTube live shows. Don't put your eggs all in one basket. Mm-hmm. Another reason why I'm a little nervous at YouTube and Google, because they literally pulled the rug out from under me when I invested all my eggs into the one basket. I was a verified user. I engaged in community. I helped build the platform, and then they decide they're going to change it and then close it, which is what Google does. And,
oh no!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So yeah, the blog post I want to make is how to lose 3 million followers overnight, and that's trust Google. So.
Oh no! We're broadcasting on Google right now.
We are doing that right now. But Google actually, I give them a lot of credit. They helped launch a career for me. So this whole social media and this ability to connect to people around the world has given me a career. So I'm deeply grateful. And for their own reasons, they decided to move away from a social platform. And we have to go with that. Like they own the playground. We just play in it. And that's what I had to come to terms with. So coming over to YouTube, where was I on that? I was making a point. Oh yeah, so I was talking to my friend.
You were telling a story about your friend. Yeah.
My friend, he looked at me, he said, Ron, he said, I could listen to you all day. You need to do a live, like you got to do a podcast or do YouTube live. He said, that's going to be your jam. That's what you're going to do. And he told that to me 2 years ago. And I'm still saying, and this is what led me to Lita. I said, oh, maybe that'll be it. I'll do Lita, and then I'll be able to go live on YouTube, right? I'll be able to do this thing. So I went on Lita, and I got really comfortable, and I made a lot of great friends. Like, didn't we make friends on Lita? Like, that was an amazing experience. Mm-hmm. So to Luria and David and Live Streaming Pros, you created an environment that's phenomenal, and I would recommend it to anybody when it comes back in April to join the Live Every Day in April challenge. And at the end, I was kind of ready, and I was hesitant. I remember, Paul, you were in one of my last lives, and I was saying, okay, I'm going to make a commitment to do live once a week on YouTube, but I didn't set a date. And so that was over a month ago, and we're here now. And I went live once on Facebook in my public profile, not my public page, but my public profile. Mm-hmm. And that was a bit of a disaster. It was one of those, I tried to stream to 3 places at once through vMix, and my bandwidth isn't enough to do that.
You got a very pixelated image or a lot of buffering situation?
Just a lot of dropped frames. It actually wasn't terrible, but yeah, it was dropped frames.
Do you think it's a valuable learning experience?
Yeah, it's very valuable. So it made me a little more shy to hit that live button again.
Do you think that experience, the one that you did where it went bad, I mean, in your opinion, it went really badly, has kind of pushed you a little further away from live streaming? Like, maybe I shouldn't do that?
I don't think it pushed me away. I still really think I want to do this. I should do this. I think it is a good forum for me. I really feel I could do it successfully, and those who know me know I'm a recovering perfectionist, and if I perceive that I can't do something well, I won't do it. Mm. It's one of those things, like I want to do it well 110%, or I don't want to do it. And I know a lot of people would relate to that. And so when I did that and I had that first blunder, I decided I needed to learn more. So I've actually been immersed in a month of massive education about streaming and the technology of streaming, so that I can avoid some of the pitfalls that are very common before I do it. Because I know in live streaming, or in Lita, we learned a lot about the philosophy of going live and creating a structure or finding a topic or being a little controversial. But we didn't learn that much about technology. And so that has been kind of my journey. I'm still learning more about the technology. And I think you might relate, Paul. It's a rabbit hole, a fun one, but it's a rabbit hole.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If you were talking to a new photographer who said, I am going to keep learning about photography as much as I can before I start taking pictures, would you say that's maybe a similar analogy to what you're experiencing right now, where you just want to learn before you actually do it, but there's a little part of you that realizes you have to actually start doing some of it in order to learn the rest? Would that be fair?
Oh, oh, I'm busted. I'm so busted. Okay, so I say this one thing to my students over and over and over. Do the work. Like you can't get better thinking about the work. I mean, we can improve our knowledge. Oh, I'm so busted, Kat. Holy smokes. Hey,
I
Kat,
didn't
have you ever
plan
thought
that.
about
I did
helping
not plan
people?
that in advance. But when you're talking about getting ready, I just thought, well, there's only so much you can do getting ready. And then I thought about the fact that you could probably use the same idea with a camera.
So true. And that's the truth. Like at some point you just got to do it, right? You got to just put your time in. You got to put your time in.
So this is becoming an intervention.
It is.
Which
It is.
so
One thing I know about Catherine, she's exceptional at identifying that thing. You do that so well.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
No. That's great. So I prepared a letter that I was hoping that I could read to you during this intervention. Do you mind if I read it right now? Dear Ron, our relationship is becoming stronger, yet I feel that I would like you to set a date on when you're going to go live. Because it's one thing to say you're busted. Oh, it's almost like I just wrote it. It's one thing to say you're busted. It's another to pick a date and time. Love, Paul. And there's a lot of tears. There's a PS, but it's soaked in tears. So, Ron, would you like to pick a date and time that people can watch you live? We have thousands of people watching right now, Ron. A built-in audience coming to watch you.
There's thousands.
Well, how dare you?
There's thousands.
Well, there are thousands. Don't tell me otherwise. How dare you? I'm living a lie. Well, there's a lot. Let's just say a lot.
There's at least 4.
Hey, you know 10. What? A lot is relative. It's the delightful word that is relative.
There's a lot more people watching this than my first live stream in Lita.
Well,
you know what I remember? When I looked back at Lita, I wanted to know my first, you know how we had that challenge, look at your first live stream? Mm-hmm. Guess who was my third comment on my live stream in Lita?
Kat.
It was Kat, as a matter of fact. She was my third comment. And that I just thought that was interesting. Yeah. I don't know who the first two were.
I spent a lot of time watching videos in the first probably 2 weeks. It kind of became a full-time job, and I was watching as many as humanly possible. But I was really glad to have found yours really early. And I think I connected right away that you're Canadian and in the same province. Yeah. But also, I do love photography, and I was like, oh, this is great. And you have a great camera presence, and I saw that right away. So, yeah.
Well, and likewise, when I saw those few people who commented, I went right away to see what they were doing and said, oh, there's somebody I could really connect with. And then eventually learned that you were in Ontario and that all the rest. So, yeah, I would consider you now my friend. Well, both of you are my friend now.
We did it. Friendships acquired.
Yeah. You see how good I am at steering away from the topic?
And not answering?
I noticed. I was going to get us back to that question.
I'm very proficient at that.
Ron, I'm going to give you, listen, I'm going to give you a lot of options. I'm going to give you 7 days to choose from. And within that 7 days, I'm going to give you 24 hours. Any of them are yours.
Okay. So is this something I have to decide today on the show?
Go for it. Why not? Go for it.
Oh.
I'll put you on the spot.
No pressure or
no
anything.
Pressure. Now nobody's going to want to come on and do an interview with us because they're like, oh, we're so pushy. Yeah. But they get the best out of people. Ron, you're talented.
Well,
When do you want to go live?
I just moved my calendar to my other desktop. I'm not looking at the comments, so I can't be influenced in any way. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And my calendar is open. And it looks very busy. I don't know, Paul. There's a lot there.
Ron, why don't you, there's a thing where people just set up a camera and eat dinner and then broadcast it. Why don't you just do that? just gateway it, Ron. Just gateway it. Just give us a chance to hang out and eat dinner with you.
I don't know if I could eat on a live stream. I could drink coffee. This is something I could do. I can drink coffee on a live stream. See, there's my coffee. It's
So Kevin here in the comments is saying that, Ron, you could do a live stream on interview question deflection.
I could do that. That reminds me of a story. See?
Ooh,
do you see what I just
nice. That reminds your story reminds me of a question. When are you going to go live?
Let me check my schedule. So what are my options here?
7 days a week, any day, and
well, that's pretty. Yeah, if I faced with too many choices, I shut down.
Got it. Okay.
Now, I actually did see that there was a little notification on your channel of a future stream that might have been set up. So, Ron, is that true? Did you set up something for later in the fall? Is that correct?
So what I did was I asked people on my feed, what was my question? It was about going live and kind of getting seeing how warm the audience was. Mm-hmm. And I did ask. I didn't set a date, but I said that I was going to be going live and starting my channel on YouTube. And so the topic isn't quite clear because of rabbit holes, my life. But photography, life, and business. Those are the things that I always talk about. Photography, life, and business. And how they're connected to creativity, to the creative journey, to inspiration. Yeah, that kind of thing.
What do you love teaching? Like, for me, I love teaching the idea of how to find the game in an improv scene. For me, love it. That brings me the most joy, helping people find the game within an improv scene or comedy in general. What do you love teaching?
When I teach, people ask me this, a person will come up to me and say, oh, I just got a new camera. Should I join your membership? And I say, no, you shouldn't join my membership, because my membership is for people who have had a photography journey and they're creatively stuck. People who have a foundational understanding, they don't understand everything. They might not even understand all the science or settings, but they know that they're over the honeymoon of photography and need to go past that. So when it comes to teaching photography, it's not the how of photography, it's the why of photography. And so that's one thing I teach a lot on, and I'm really happy to teach about it.
You should teach about that. You should teach about that.
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
I do, though. See, this is the thing, is that I do these things. I have a private community, and I have a private Facebook group, and I have these private things. Well, it's all safe. It's all very safe.
Ron, rip down your walled gardens. Rip down your walled gardens and let the regular people come in and enjoy
around me. Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
Give the people
what they want. Let them eat cake.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's get back to your question, because I'm intrigued and terrified about deciding. First of all, I think I would probably do it more than 1 day a week, but I would not commit to more than 1 day a week. So I want to have a regular time.
Smart.
And
very smart.
I don't know what that ideal time is for people. Everything I do is during the day, and I'm really not very sharp after 7 or 8 o'clock at night. When I honor my personal rhythms, and I know that I am not the guy doing the midnight stream like certain Sammys we know. I'm not. I just, there's no, like, I caught his stream a couple of times, but boy, it was hard work to be up at that hour.
Well, I think
so I know that about myself.
Kat and I have talked about this before, that it's the most important thing is, like, when does it work for you? When are you going to be at your most, joyful and happy, and this is, fun and not work. So
yeah,
I don't know.
So it's before 7 in the evening, and I guess that creates another obstacle. Oh, but then most people aren't even home from work at, whatever. If I wanted to do it at 4 p.m, nobody's going to watch me. But that's only true in this part of my world.
That's true. Also, you don't want to go but if you go later, you might miss out on those people whose cars broke down and they're on the side of the road. Also, you got to factor in the people who've been kidnapped and not even available. They can't even get access to a computer.
And I was driving home. I was down in the city today. Well, not city, toward Mississauga. It wasn't the city. I was driving home, and right in front of me, a guy pulled off on the highway onto the left side of the road, nearly caused a pileup, because I think he was trying to catch a live show, actually. I was sure of it.
Well, I would say one thing. First of all, I have watched daytime lives and been in the comments, and I've seen your name, Ron. So you know that people watch shows during the day. People also watch shows around the end of the day. It's 4:00 in Ontario right now. But really, it's that what time works for you. And if people want to hear your message, even if they're at work, sometimes they'll set aside. Maybe they'll eat lunch with you while you talk to them, or those are all barriers that we put up. There is no perfect time that's going to work for everyone. That's just not happening.
Yeah. And this is the thing that I always tell people. This decision is not a marriage, right? It's not like if I pick the wrong time, I can't pick another time, right? But your brain is telling you, oh no, what if that's the wrong time? Then that's it forever. Like for the next 10 years, I can only do 4:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. Which is
and
silly.
Actually, Paul and I at our kind of wrap-up segment are going to be talking about that, because both of us have been having these realizations about the schedule as we get a little bit into it, questions that we should ask ourselves. So we're actually going to talk about that specific thing at the end of today's show.
Oh, also, I do want to mention, Dr. Elo mentioned he's jumping off to his stream. So I did want to mention we are going to wrap this up by the end of the hour. So after this, if people want to go watch Dr. Elo's stream, we encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that means I have only a few minutes to make a commitment to a day
for one
to
day.
have my first live show.
That's it. We're not getting married.
I'm not going to commit.
You don't have to put a ring on anybody's finger.
I'm going on a date here.
Okay.
I'm going to go on a date with live streaming. And so we're going to have one date.
Yeah.
So let's start this. So this will take the fear out of the commitment. One date.
One date.
So I'm looking at my calendar. How far out should it be? Give me some advice here.
4 days.
If it's too long, I'll think about it too much.
Oh, tonight.
Like if it's too far in the future. No.
Tomorrow.
And if it's too soon, I will shut down in panic.
We've got a window then. We've got a window. We've narrowed down.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Thursday or Friday?
Thursday or Friday.
So what about...
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I would say...
I'll write something in an envelope and we'll compare.
What about Friday afternoon after a lot of us watch Live Streaming Pros on Fridays, and now Fridays are a little bit longer, but there are a bunch of us there. We might be able to hop over later in the afternoon and go and support you. So maybe sometime Friday afternoon after, say, 2:30.
That's brilliant. That makes a ton of sense.
So what's interesting, my hands are in the air. I'm not touching anything. And if you could see, I could hold up
on a date.
I could hold up a mirror that over here I have this calendar event about to be filled out for Friday at 4 p.m.
Let's do it.
Do it.
I think it's too late, or should we do it at 3 p.m.?
Nope, 4 o'clock's perfect.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Eastern.
And
that's the same time as today's show.
That's this Friday.
Yeah.
How could I don't even have a show bumper or bullets. I don't have any of that stuff, Paul. What do you say to that?
I'll help you. I'll work with you tomorrow on it.
Paul is a VMix master by now.
I know. I told him I want to talk to him.
Except for that countdown.
I was expecting him to say, Progress, not perfection.
Except for
That's what
this
you're
show,
supposed to say.
it's always great. Friday at 4.
Okay.
Yeah? Oh, look at that. Nice.
I'm going to put it in my calendar. It's a date. It's just a date. You're not married to it.
And yeah, so that'll help.
This is great.
First
I'm telling my
YouTube
grandma.
Live. So I have been live on my page, well, a couple of times, I guess, but not on YouTube. I don't think I've gone live on YouTube. I could be proven wrong, but I really don't think I have. That I can remember. Anyway.
This is cool.
And it doesn't have to be fancy.
Progress, not perfection. Doesn't have to be fancy. Lights, camera, microphone. And but I don't have purple lights. How can
you know that's garbage. Your background is great. We love your background.
Your background is awesome.
I got a new tripod lamp today, but I'm not loving how it looks in the picture, so I'll probably put my coat rack back there. Put my tripod lamp where I can see it over here to bring me joy.
Why don't I'll message you later today, and we'll kick around some ideas. And I'm going to plant this seed. I could even run vMix for you over here, and you just send me your camera signal if you want. So you don't have to even bother with vMix. You just get to do the live, and I send you the master. We'll talk, but we'll make it easy.
Let's talk about
4
it.
o'clock.
That's a possibility. What has happened, though, is monumental. I mean, there's been a major shift in the force because you've actually got me to commit to a date.
Nice. You got to get down on paper. Once it's down on paper, it's real.
And this happened right here on your show.
We want to have you back on the show and ask you how your experience went. So this will be exciting to talk. We've heard now, and then you'll do the show. We'll support you. We'll show up. And then when it comes time afterwards, we can have you back and you can tell us about your experience. What did you learn? What was it like? Mindset shifts, etc. So very exciting.
Okay. All right. That's
nice.
I'm going to do that.
Awesome. This is great.
This is going to happen.
Yes. Thank you so much for being our guest. It's our second guest ever. And it was kind of nice to experiment with inviting someone on who has not yet gone on. And then we just terrorize our guests for 10 minutes to just, force them into picking a time to go live. It's great.
It's okay. And I booked an appointment with my therapist for 15 minutes after we're off air.
Oh, boy.
Smart.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming on, Ron.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this puppy up in time to go over and watch Dr. Elo's stream.
Yes.
But we talked a couple days ago about evaluating live streams and how many, etc. So did you want to kick us off with where your head's at?
Yeah, so one thing that I've been becoming more realizing is because I want to do something doesn't mean I necessarily should do something, and overcommitting is a real serious problem of mine. And I want to do all the things, and it's easy to do the thing the first time. So for instance, doing a live show is really exciting, and the first time doing it is awesome. But when you say I'm going to go live 3 times a week, it's not the first week that's the hardest. It's the third week and the fourth week and the having to show up every time. And I love doing it, but sometimes burnout's a real thing. And I'm just realizing consistency and regular schedules are more important than the volume of showing up. So I'm just kind of thinking, that's a long way of saying, I'm thinking of pulling back and maybe doing 1 show on my personal channel a week versus ideally I was like, I'm going to do it 3 times and maybe I'll work up to that. But right now, once is, I think, reasonable in making a really fun experience and really being present and showing up with the people. So that's what I learned. How about you, Kat?
Yeah. So mine was very similar. We came to a very similar conclusion around the same time. And maybe the timeline is, as you said, it's not the early days, it's when you kind of keep going, you realize what is sustainable and what's not. And so I think I was really energized and so excited after the end of August and was like, I need to do all the things. And so I have my work channel, my Happy Insides, which I do a live every Wednesday. I've been doing that since May. And then I started up doing on my personal project, the Ditching Diets and Die, started doing a weekly check-in on Fridays. And as I said, I kind of showed up anyway, even though I didn't feel like it. But we also have this show on Wednesday. So we got my double Wednesday. And in the month of September, I realized just the volume of stuff that was going on and kind of hit a wall last week, but started to reevaluate what's most sustainable for me. And so what I'm going to do is actually pause my Friday weekly check-in live for my personal page, still do a recorded video that will come out every week. So I'm still consistent, but that won't necessarily be where I focus my live. And I may come back to it. But for me, it was partly just looking at the full volume and saying, what is the best for my health and well-being? And then I think the other element is that I wasn't necessarily loving how the show flow. Like there's a disconnect there. And until I have that ready. Now I think I will go this Friday to tell about the update because there are some people who have been watching them. And so I want to share that update, tell them the pivot that I'm going to make, and just kind of pause the Fridays for now. And I feel really good about it, even though I feel kind of disappointed. I don't know if you have a similar feeling of like, oh, it's not really, I kind of don't like doing that, but I know it's important and I need to do it. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's different. I mean, I think we're making choices. And like you said, I think it's good to take care of yourself first and foremost, because if you're taking care of yourself, then you are going to present the best show when you have the opportunity to present the best show. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's an important thing to share. And it ties back to what Ron shared around it's not a lifelong commitment. You're not married to it. And I think our examples are realistic and maybe an example of how early on you get really excited about it and potentially bite off more than you can chew. You have to learn it in order to figure it out and figure out what works for you for a long term. Because you don't want to just start and then stop. Mm-hmm. You just want to adjust so that then you can do something that's more sustainable.
And I think also it's like what you mentioned and Ron mentioned today, that just doing the work, and he always tells people, just do the work. Just making decisions and trying something and realizing it doesn't work is great, but trying to calculate everything before ever creating anything is it never makes anything. You're just kind of stuck in your head. So even if you do overcommit and realize I got to ditch some of the dates and times, at least you're doing something.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Learning from experience.
We did it. We got through. Yeah. Under an hour. Very impressive.
Yeah, that's big.
So many good comments. Oh boy. Shoot. I feel like we can't get to all of them. But thank you for all the comments. Thank you for being here and watching. Kat, anything before we take off?
No, I do want to just say thank you for everyone today. It was a great conversation. It was great to hear from Ron. I hope we didn't scare off future guests. And I'm excited to bring Ron back after. And if you're watching this on the replay and it's before Friday at 4 Eastern, please join our friend Ron. His YouTube link is in the comments or in the description, so you can go and follow and support him there.
And if people want to follow you, where can they find you, Kat, aside from this show?
So My Happy Insides and the Ditching Diets and Die, which I believe are featured on our Are We Live Now channel. So you can link directly from there. How about you?
Same with mine. You can find it. It's featured here as well. And I'm going live at least once a week. And yeah, thanks for being here, Kat. This is so much fun doing this with you.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Everybody, go watch Dr. Elo. Thanks for being a part of the show. Goodbye.